Andor, Season 2. Hi, thank you for tuning into the Tom Bottelsen Show. Andor Season 2 is over, and I was going to put this review together last week as it happened, but I put the Thunderbolts up instead because I just seen it, and I'm always trying to stay on top of the latest thing, and I want to get my review out there first, which doesn't make much sense on this one because I really needed time to process Andor Season 2. I needed to think about it. I usually say I need 3 days after a movie to decide if I really like it, because if after 3 days I stopped thinking about it, it didn't affect me as much as it probably should have as a movie. And Andor Season 2. By the way, spoiler-ish. I'm not giving a ton away because I want you to watch it. If you're watching this and you haven't watched it, I'll be giving away plot points and things, but I really want you to watch this. And if you've watched this, then you know everything, so I don't have to tell you point by point. Andor, as a whole, Season 1 and Season 2, as a completed art piece, is the finest writing Star Wars has done since The Empire Strikes Back. I really do put it second or third in my order of Star Wars property as a whole. It's difficult for me to vote against A New Hope because I saw that when I was 7 years old in the theater, and will forever be a touchstone for me, a pivot point of my life that Star Wars came out and I saw it. But the season, as you know, pieces together the time and the events that happen in between Revenge of the Sith and Episode 4. The blowing up of the Death Star in Episode 4, this pieces together the time, which is why it does the time jump in this particular seasons. And you see things like BBY. BBY means before the Battle of Yavin. That is when Luke blows up the Death Star. It's 19 years from when Luke was born to when he blows up the Death Star. 19 years to build the Empire and the Death Star and oppression before it happens. And that is the first big blow to the Empire, is the Death Star blows up. There's such beautiful writing in this. In Episode 1, Andor says to someone, "You're coming home to yourself. You've become more than your fear." There's some wonderful dialogue and some wonderful poetry in this season and the last season in Andor itself. It is adult Star Wars, is what a friend of mine calls it. So what happens in Andor Season 2? Here's the Gorman scheme. Here's what happens. Years ago, Grand Moff Tarkin, yeah, that Grand Moff Tarkin, lands his ship on Gorman on top of 500 innocent protesters, killing them all, so they put up a monument to where that happened. Now, the Empire is secretly, and I'll air quote the secretly, building an armory whose building casts a shadow over the monument. And I say secretly because they all kind of know what's happening, but nobody wants to say it. No one's going to ever tell the Empire what they're doing, so everyone knows that it is in fact they're building a stronghold. They're building a fortress. They're building a defense perimeter. So this is meant on purpose to inspire the people of Gorman to rebel. And the reason they want them to rebel is so they, the Empire, can put them down and take over the planet to use the resources that they don't know they have deep in the ground, which will help build their ultimate weapon, the weapon on the Death Star. They're forcing them to rebel, and then they rebel, they can put them down to say, "Ha-ha, we have put down the unruly insurgents and protected our empire," when secretly all they wanted to do was get the minerals. They're playing the people like puppets. Puppetry. Cyril is our biggest puppet for the Empire, and he's being led into the Gorman resistance because they don't know he's secretly a double agent, and it is the happiest he has ever been in his entire life. But even he doesn't know what's being planned, and he never really does, and he never has one moment of remorse except for 1 second he might. Like he feels like he's being played. He doesn't know in his entire life, from his mother to his girlfriend to everybody bringing him boy, I almost have sympathy for Cyril, almost. And before Cyril's death, Andor utters the words, Who are you? Who are you? Cyril's life has been nothing. Nothing. His main foe, his antagonist, has no idea who he is. Everyone has lied to him. Everyone has used him, and he dies without acknowledgement. And his girlfriend, Dedra, who my buddy says is a perfect Imperial soldier. She should have been promoted and put on the Death Star to be blown to bits. She is instead, because she lies, she backstabs, she's secretly planned, she's conniving, she's working the Empire within itself, which is what you want from your villains. I agree with him. She should have been promoted for being such a POS, but instead she is imprisoned in the same prison where Andor was in season 1 for her backstabbing, lust for power and mistrust, puppetry. The rebels and the start of the rebellion that we're watching. By the way, earlier I said that it pieces together the incidents in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. No, it bridges the gap between Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. Sorry about that. Oops. Okay, the rebels. There are so many different factions of rebels that are doing their part to bring down the Empire, and you can't have meetings in between worlds. You can't send messages, so they're all fighting the Empire, and sometimes they don't know that the others exist. Every faction of theirs appears to be alone until Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BC with his army to take and conquer Rome, which he was advised against. They said, if you cross the Rubicon, if you cross that river, it's war and it's on. And Julius Caesar is said to have said, the die is cast, or the decision has been made. I cross the Rubicon, either I'm emperor of Rome or I'm dead. He does cross the Rubicon, and the rest is history. It's when there's no going back. And crossing the Rubicon has become a metaphor in our current society for that, when it's like, okay, I do this, there ain't no going back. Mon Mothma's speech to the Senate is crossing the Rubicon, because it will certainly cause her arrest or imprisonment or worse or whatever, and the scene is so tense and so wonderful and heroic, and Bail Organa, who is now played by Benjamin Bratt instead of Jimmy Smits, which I'm fine. Benjamin Bratt. I like Benjamin Bratt. It dooms Bail Organa's plan at Alderaan, as you know from later. I mean, it absolutely dooms him that he takes her side and he puts himself in danger, knowing that's what it's needed is that kind of sacrifice to bring down the Empire. Mon Mothma gives the speech, the die is cast, now it is freedom from tyranny or death. The rebellion now has a face, a name, and a secret base on Yavin 4, which is the forest moon which orbits the gas giant Yavin Prime. She gives the speech, and now the rebellion is a thing, and everybody knows about it, and anybody who's watched that speech can now say, okay, we are not alone in the rebellion. We are not alone. Oh, man. Andor shows us what war and depression looks like in the Star Wars universe. It pulls friends and lovers apart because secrecy is paramount to the rebellion, and you're constantly on your guard against the people you know and love, trying to protect the people that you know and love, and it makes every single person a lone entity. Because attachment could lead to betrayal or worse, and those that you love could now be used against you, and you would forego the cause of the rebellion. I'm leaving so much out. I'm leaving so much out of this review. I could go on and on about specifics and things, but that's not as important as the grand overview of Andor Season 1 and Season 2, which is heartbreaking and beautiful and magical and wonderful. I mean, there's no Jedi. There's no Jedi, there's no Skywalkers, there's no Leia. There are very few characters we know. We know some of them, we hear them mentioned, but there's no Vader, there's no things. May the Force be with you, Bail Organa says in the last episode. That's the one time the Force is mentioned. There's a Force healer in an episode. We talk about people using the Force to heal, and Cassian Andor thinks it's a joke. But maybe that's why I love Andor so much. Maybe that's why my buddy calls it adult Star Wars, because there are no lightsabers, and the Force isn't mentioned, and there's no. It's just people. It's just regular people who are forced to become heroic and forced to fight for their very freedom, for their very lives, and showing how the Empire became about seemingly from nothing to becoming this entity. And even the people in the Empire are getting backstabbed, and they're getting put in jail, and they're being killed because the Empire suits itself. The Empire suits the Empire itself, not the people in it, just the Empire existence itself. It's a wonderful piece of artwork. I do put it second or third. It just, as a whole, as a fully realized piece, it is wonderful, it is heartbreaking, it is interesting, it is thought-provoking, it makes you think about freedom, it makes you think about ideals, it makes you think about what it means to be a hero, it makes you think about sacrifice, it makes you think of it. My mind went on and on and on, and every time I saw those 3 episodes in the release, I saw the 3 episodes, and then I'd have a week off that just stew in my head. Did you watch this? Did you watch this thing? And every 3 episodes you go, jeez, I need to watch something happy now. I need to watch something happy, something funny, a good old monster movie, something like, my goodness. Andor Season 2. It's truly wonderful. It is truly a wonderful piece of science fiction art. That'll do it for my review and thoughts on Andor Season 2 and how it is one of Star Wars' finest properties. It is really wonderful. Like and subscribe if you like this content, and if you'd like to come along with me on this journey, and hit that notification bell so you know when my stuff drops. It drops on Sunday. Coming up soon, I'm going to do a review of Mission Impossible's last movie. Could it be the last time we see Ethan Hunt? I don't know. We're talking about that with some friends the other day, how Mission Impossible 1 for me still holds up as a wonderful film, a great action-packed adventure along the same lines as the TV show was. So I'd like to see what Tom Cruise has planned. Amazing stunts, no doubt, and whatever else, but I'll be seeing that. Ballerina is on the docket coming up soon, the latest from the John Wick universe. I'm in the middle of Doctor Who's current season, and I'm loving that. And I've got lots of other things to talk about, lots of other games to review. So, till I see you next time, as always, peace, love, live long and prosper. And I mean it.